Carole King. The name itself sounds like a melody. For millions, she's the ultimate friend in music, the reassuring voice behind You've Got a Friend, the architect of Tapestry, an album that wasn't just a record, but a companion for an entire generation. She wrote the soundtrack to our lives from a cubicle in the Brill Building, and then stepped into the spotlight to become a legend. Her entire public image is one of grace, warmth, and honesty. But if you spend enough time online, you'll find whispers of a different story, a story of sharp elbows, broken trust, and bitter rivalries. Forums, tell-all books, and viral videos paint a picture of a different Carole King, one who navigated a world of massive egos and artistic betrayals. They say that for every "you've got a friend," there was a friendship that ended in cold, permanent silence. They name names: rock gods, fellow icons, titans of the industry. The stories are dramatic, juicy, and incredibly specific. We've all seen the headlines. We've all heard the rumors. Today, we're not just repeating gossip. We dug past the whispers and the clickbait into archives, interviews, and biographies to find the real story. What we found is honestly more shocking than any fabricated feud. We're not just breaking down the 5 musicians Carole King reportedly couldn't stand. We're going to uncover what really happened, and the truth will change the way you see her story forever. Our countdown begins with a clash of styles so extreme it sounds like the setup for a joke. Coming in at number 5 is the Motor City madman himself, Ted Nugent. On one side, you have Carole King, the queen of heartfelt, piano-driven folk rock. On the other, Ted Nugent, the wild, hard-rocking guitar slinger known for his high-octane theatrics. Artistically, they were on different planets. But according to music industry legend, for one infamous day, those planets collided. The story goes that during a TV taping in the late 70s, Carole King was on stage for a quiet, professional sound check. Suddenly the piece is shattered. Uninvited, Ted Nugent allegedly crashes the rehearsal, plugs in, and starts blasting ear-splitting solos. The legend paints this vivid picture of total disregard. King, ever the pro, tries to continue, but Nugent's sonic assault makes it impossible. When she politely asked him to tone it down, he didn't just refuse. He supposedly mocked her. The most quoted line from this encounter is pure condescension. Nugent allegedly laughed and bellowed, "Folk music is for grandmas." The insult was aimed not just at her, but at her entire genre. The story ends with King, deeply offended, leaving the stage, refusing to return until Nugent was gone. One viral video even quotes her as saying, "He's the musical equivalent of a chainsaw in a church." It's a fantastic story, a perfect clash of cultures. It's dramatic, memorable, and it's been repeated for years. But here's the thing. When you look for any credible, first-hand account of this, you find nothing. It's not in any reputable biography of King. No interviews from the era where she or Nugent discuss it. The story seems to exist only in the echo chamber of online gossip, with each post sourcing the other in a circular chain of unverified claims. So what's the reality? While it's safe to say their musical and political views don't exactly align, there is zero factual evidence this showdown ever happened. That colorful chainsaw in a church quote? It appears to be creative writing, designed to make the story juicier. The truth is, Carole King's career has been defined by professionalism. She came up in the Brill Building, writing hits for dozens of artists. The idea of her being so easily rattled by another musician's style just doesn't fit the resilient pro she's always been. The story of this feud, as entertaining as it is, seems to be a rock and roll urban legend. Fan fiction pitting two opposites against each other in a battle that never happened. At number 4, we have a supposed rivalry that feels more intimate and in some ways more painful. It involves another queen of the Laurel Canyon scene, the powerhouse vocalist, Linda Ronstadt. This wasn't a clash of styles, but a quiet, cold war between two of the most successful women in a male-dominated industry. They were peers. They moved in the same circles, and they should have been allies. The legend says otherwise. The main story centers on a dinner party in Malibu. At the height of their fame, King had redefined the singer-songwriter with Tapestry, and Ronstadt was a certified rock superstar. The rumor alleges that during this party, Ronstadt, in a moment of casual cruelty, dismissed King's songwriting. Legacy. The supposed quote that did the damage was devastatingly simple. "You got lucky with one album." That wasn't just a critique. It was a complete erasure of King's history. The story claims King was stunned, viewing it as a betrayal from someone who should have understood the struggle. It painted Ronstadt as dismissive, fueling a silent rivalry that would last for decades. This narrative is powerful because it touches on professional jealousy and the pressures on female artists. The idea of a secret feud between two of the biggest female stars is undeniably compelling. But once again, when we look for proof, the story evaporates. There's not a single credible source to confirm this dinner party incident. No authorized biography of either artist mentions a feud. In fact, the evidence points in the exact opposite direction. The reality is, their careers were intertwined, with mutual respect. Linda Ronstadt actually had a hit with a Carole King song. In 1993, she recorded "Oh No, Not My Baby," a track King co-wrote with Jerry Goffin back in the 60s. Superstars don't typically record and promote songs written by people they've dismissed as a one-album wonder. And if you need more proof, in a very public display of friendship, Carole King actually presented Linda Ronstadt with a Lifetime Achievement Award from Berklee College of Music. This public gesture of warmth and respect directly contradicts the narrative of a bitter feud. So where did this rumor come from? It likely stems from the media's habit of pitting successful women against each other. It's easy to project a rivalry onto them, but the facts don't support it. The alleged feud seems to be another myth, a story created to add conflict to a history that was actually about mutual admiration. We're only at number 3, and we've already dismantled 2 of the biggest myths about Carole King's career. It's a reminder of how easily stories get twisted. If you're finding this look into music history as fascinating as we are, and you believe in separating fact from fiction, take a second to hit that subscribe button. And don't forget to ring the bell, so you won't miss our future videos where we uncover the real stories behind music's greatest legends. Your support helps us keep digging. Now, let's get back to the countdown, because the next story is the most explosive one of all. This next one is heavy. At number 3 is an alleged encounter with arguably the most revered songwriter of the 20th century, Bob Dylan. This story isn't just about a petty insult. It's a narrative of profound disrespect, and in its most extreme telling, physical intimidation. It's a legend that's grown over time into one of the most shocking rumors about Carole King. The setting is a major music festival in the early 70s. King and Dylan are on the same bill. King, now a global superstar thanks to Tapestry, supposedly approached Dylan backstage with the respect of one great showdown between Carole King and the Rocket Man himself, Sir Elton John. This story is all about ego, creative control, and a dream collaboration that allegedly turned into a nightmare. The legend is set in 1983. A collaboration is proposed. They reportedly sit down in a studio. King, known for her soulful, grounded arrangements, starts to play. But the session is immediately hijacked by Elton's flamboyant musical personality. He allegedly wouldn't let her finish a verse without interrupting, rewriting her chords and telling her to jazz it up. He dismissed her mellow style as too tame. The session became a battle, with Elton's explosive style overwhelming her introspective approach. Carole later supposedly told a friend that working with him was like trying to duet with a tornado. The final blow came with a single, theatrical line. As King grew frustrated, Elton allegedly laughed and said, "Darling, you've had your moment. Now let me have mine." That was it. King quietly packed up and walked out. The dream duet was dead. This story is the perfect diva showdown. It's got clashing egos, artistic differences, and a killer quote. It frames King as the authentic artist and Elton John as the flamboyant superstar. But is it true? When we dig into the archives, this story starts to look less like history and more like well-crafted fan fiction. There are no credible first-hand accounts to verify this confrontation. King did make a vague reference once in a BBC interview about a chaotic rehearsal with a male artist who thought he was Mozart, but she never named him, and fans have only speculated that it was John. Those electric tornado and you've had your moment quotes can't be traced to any verified source. They seem to be embellishments. In reality, in the mid-70s, both Carole King and Elton John contributed vocals to albums by David Crosby, showing they were part of the same musical community. The story of the failed duet is likely an exaggeration of artistic differences, blown up into a legendary feud. It plays on their public personas. While the image of a duet with a tornado is memorable, the evidence suggests this storm never actually made landfall. And now, the #1 musician Carole King supposedly hated the most. This is the alleged feud that's the most detailed, personal, and enduring of them all. At the top of our list is the frontman of the Eagles, Don Henley. The legend is incredibly specific. It's 1979. King is in a studio for a collaboration with Henley. From the start, their philosophies clashed. King poured her raw, authentic emotion into the takes. Henley, known for the Eagles' notoriously polished sound, pushed for more precision. He allegedly kept demanding more takes, trying to clean up the sound, sanding down what King felt was the music's soul. In frustration, she supposedly told him, "You're stripping the soul out of this." Henley's alleged reply was a cold, gendered dismissal that became the cornerstone of this feud. He looked at her and said, "You're just too sensitive." That was the line. It wasn't just a critique. It was a personal attack. The story claims King was so insulted that she didn't yell. She quietly packed her things and walked out of the session and any professional relationship with him, forever. The fallout was supposedly absolute, a silent standoff that lasted for decades, with event organizers having to keep them separate. This is the ultimate music industry feud narrative. It has a clear inciting incident, a villainous quote, and a long, dramatic aftermath. But what's the reality? Is this the one story that's actually true? Once again, the foundation of this epic feud is built on sand. There are no credible first-hand sources to verify the 1979 studio session or the famous exchange. The entire confrontation appears to be a work of fiction. In fact, the truth is far less dramatic. In her own 2012 memoir, A Natural Woman, Carole King writes about meeting her third husband at a party. Whose party was it? It was at Don Henley's house. It's incredibly unlikely she'd be attending a party at the home of a man she supposedly despised. Furthermore, the 2016 Hyde Park concert, often cited as proof of their rift, was actually a powerful display of mutual artistry. They were the two headliners. While they didn't perform together, their back-to-back sets were celebrated as a showcase of two of America's greatest songwriters, with no mention of any offstage drama. The story of King's hatred for Henley is the most persistent myth about her because it feels so plausible, but the evidence just isn't there. So there you have it. The top 5 musicians Carole King supposedly hated the most: Ted Nugent, Linda Ronstadt, Bob Dylan, Elton John, Don Henley. 5 sensational stories of feuds and backstage drama. And as we've seen, all 5 of them appear to be myths. There was no soundcheck showdown with Ted Nugent. There was no Cold War with Linda Ronstadt. There was public friendship and collaboration. There was no backstage assault by Bob Dylan. There was a shared tour and an unfortunate accident. There was no duet disaster with Elton John. And there was no career-defining insult from Don Henley. There were parties at his home and a shared stage in London. So why do these stories persist? Perhaps it's because we have a hard time believing that someone as genuinely good as Carole King can also be a resilient, powerful force in a tough industry. Maybe we crave the drama, the idea that behind the beautiful music lies a darker reality. But these fabricated feuds reveal a fundamental misunderstanding of who Carole King is. Her true story isn't one of petty rivalries. It's one of groundbreaking success, quiet strength, and incredible generosity. She is the woman who wrote, "You've got a friend," and meant it, fostering one of the longest and most beautiful friendships in music with James Taylor. She is the professional who built a career on collaboration, writing over 400 songs recorded by more than 1,000 artists. The real story of Carole King is far more inspiring than any fictional feud. It's the story of a woman who faced personal heartbreak and professional challenges, yet always responded with grace. She didn't need to engage in rivalries because her work spoke for itself. And it still does. What do you think? Were you surprised to learn that these legendary feuds are myths? It's a powerful reminder to always question the stories you hear. Let us know in the comments which one of these debunked stories shocked you the most. And if you believe in telling the true stories of music history, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more that separates the legends from the lies. Thanks for watching.